Yeah, so this is a really powerful lesson, one I love a lot. Oh, wait, hold on. Show you. Give me a second. The my book is underneath my computer. It's a book called Light and Shadow in Watercolor. I'll send you a copy of it. Um, Many of you know I am not a watercolorist myself, although I actually do quite a bit of watercolor, but it's not my primary medium as a professional painter. So I always feel like I'm needing to, particularly when it comes to painting something, I need to catch up. I need to think about how to present this. I mean, I actually do a lot of watercolor painting with my sketching. I often start a composition that I may want to get big by making it littler. And but the advantage to you is because I don't know this medium very well, I'm much more aware of how to kind of break it down into pieces. It took me probably 10 years to be able to learn how to teach painting because I did it so naturally, I didn't think about it. I was a terrible drawer, always have been. And so actually, weirdly, my drawing is like lessons are better than my painting lessons because I have to pay more attention. So we're just at this good moment, I think. And this class, we're going to do this class for 6 weeks, take a 6 week break while I teach Tuesdays. And then we're going to go back. We're just going to go back and forth between Tuesdays and we'll be doing 6 week sections all year long with time in between. That's my plan. I'd like to keep this class going all year. And just because of the way I'm paid and reimbursed, I can't do 2 water classes in a week, but I can switch them off. So that was Diana's idea, which I thought was a really good one. Okay, so let me pump this up. Does anybody have questions before we get started? Okay, so I have a sheet of watercolor paper here and a very messy palette. This is my little travel palette. I really love it. And I like to call this little, what do you call it? Towel, paper towel. You could use a rag too. My blankie. This is my security blankie. Why? Because at points I'm going to get too much paint or too much water on my paper, and I can use this to clean up my palette. I'm going to get another one. I can use this to kind of pad up paper if I do it quickly enough. We are going to be working, there are 2 basic techniques in watercolor, and I might just actually show you a little bit on one side of the paper, have you practice, and then we'll go to another. There's something called wet on wet. And wet on wet means we wet the paper first with water, and then we put watercolor on it. And it usually is done when you're trying to do big layers of things, usually first layers. Uh, and it's extremely hard to control. Really nerve-wracking. So I'm just making 2 little squares here. We're going to flip this paper over when we do our exercise. Wet on wet means that I get my brush wet with water and I get the paper wet, and then I put glue right on that wet. And I kind of move it around. And so one of the things that you'll see, you should try this yourself. One of the things you'll see that happens is you get these little beads of water and you end up moving them around in this wet paint environment. See, there's this little bead of water. I'm kind of pushing it around so that it dissipates. And although I used to find wet on wet very, I mean, I still do a little bit, kind of terrifying. I like it because it's kind of a cleaner, smoother. Um, it gets rid of a lot of extra brush marks. And you can see what I did here is I dipped my brush in the water again, and now I kind of wrecked and now I have to move everything around again. If you get your brush wet, too much water can kind of mess up your watercolors. But I want you to try just a wet on wet. We're not going to do wet on wet, but I want you to practice it. Um, because it's actually, here's the thing about watercolor. If I just do a stroke, this is what people love about it. This is just a stroke on paper, right? Look at how expressive that is, right? It's and it there every time we see like the paint kind of interact on the paper, this is interesting. I'm thinking this is because I did this on the back of the paper. We'll see. I don't know why it's doing quite this much, but just one stroke, of course, it conveys a lot, but it also, once that dries, which happens fairly quickly, um, if anybody sees a mark on the paper, they wonder why it's there. So wet on wet is kind of a way of playing around. And I'm just, because now and you can do this as well. I'm like kind of pulling some of the paint off. It makes some neat textures. I mean, you can't really beat watercolor for texture and expressiveness, but it's extremely hard to control, which is why people freak out about it. And then here is wet on dry, which is just simply, try a different blue, right? See how much more I control this. However, look at how much more marks there are on the paper. It goes on a little darker. It's a little bit more difficult. For me to get a smooth finish. So yeah, give yourself a box to do wet on wet and wet on dry. I mean, this is like the knit and purl of the art world, right? And in painting, and when we talk about acrylic painting, I always say the knit and purl of the art world is soft versus hard edges. This is kind of a similar thing. Wet on wet is softer, and wet on dry is you can get into more detail. We're going to do wet on dry because we're going to try and really play with details, although you might find yourself in some cases wetting your paper first. It just depends. So try that and send it over to me when you on the thread. And can you guys see this okay?
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. I want you to let go of any idea of how this is going to look towards the end. You're going to be getting your feet. So we're going to be working, right? We're going to be doing something like this. I don't know over there. Where we do the same landscape 9 different ways, and we'll talk about how those are different. And some of them may be harder than others. Let's see. Yeah, look at the difference between MCs, hard and like the wet on wet and the wet on dry. Nice. Beautiful. It's funny, MC, isn't it? How like just returning to this one subject actually like kind of solidifies everything we learned in the first session.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. This is why I kind of like this constant repetition. We will constantly go back to beginning in January through the winter. Let's see. Oh yeah, and show of course, show me what you're working on, Diana. Oh, that's pretty. Cherry blossoms?
No, it's peach blossoms.
Ooh, look at how layered it is.
Yeah. Do you think I need to do anything else to it or?
Yes, I'm trying to think. Let's see. Yeah, it looks a little, don't be mad at me. I think to unify the shaded areas, you need to glaze it a little bit more, right? It looks a little, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at
I
me.
don't ever get mad, but I laugh at you.
Nice, Annika. Really nice. So nice. Good job. JC, how's it looking? I would say it still feels a little disconnected, you know what I mean? Which is really easy to do with petals like that. So you end up
It's
Uh,
funny, I had it more unified, and then Lado said, no, you can't have it that unified. You have to
Right. It's
vary.
a balance. He's right and I'm right. It's like a balance. But also I feel like I like what's happening in the corner. There's something about the stem that
Yeah,
feels
that's
a little
right there.
unfinished. And so
Yeah.
when and even when I look at those red, yeah, it's just
This
glazing
stem,
coming
this stem I can see. Yeah, that one I can work a little bit on.
and maybe a little bit more with your background. I mean, it's so pretty, you want to like really push it out. And Annika, you'll probably notice that if you want to go lighter, you'll get a
Yeah.
little bit more, you can, which is you're going to want to do at some point. So uh, you're going to want to add more when you get your paint out like this, you're going to want to add a little bit more water by dipping in so that it's a
Yeah.
little bit, because we're about to go into serious light, medium, and dark action. So as you're dipping in water, but the challenge, of course, is always not to make it too watery so it goes all over the place. You can lighten with water. JC, how's it going over there? Should I move on or shall I move on to talk or do you want to show me what you
Move
got?
on. I'm just moving very slowly.
You got it, aloud. Okay, so what I absolutely adore about this exercise, I'm actually going to call it up to show you what I mean. This is this is why this guy is such a good watercolor teacher and a good artist. He really understands. Here, hold on, give me a second. So, all right, so I'm going to share on the screen so we can look at kind of our final product. So he calls this his 2-against-1 value chart. So what are values? Values are the lightness or darkness of any color. And in each of these scenes, there is a light, which you will see is actually no paint at all, right? There's actually no paint on here. That's how you obtain a light. There's a medium, and then there's a dark. Dark, light, medium, dark, medium, light. And this is all the same scene, by the way. So his basic idea with 2-to-1 is that depending on what you want to emphasize in your landscape, and the other thing we need to think about, and you can see it really clearly here, there are 3 planes in this landscape. What is a plane? A plane is something that is changes direction, is farther away. So the sky plane here is the farthest away. And as you come down, this is the middle plane, right? And then this bottom area is the front plane. It's the closest to us. So, right, because we can't paint up or down in a landscape, we can't paint in and out, right? We can only go up or down. Things that are farther away are generally the far plane. As we go down, we've got the middle plane. And as we come here, we've got the front plane. And the importance of this is really that depending on what you want to emphasize. So in this top layer, if you make 2 of your planes 1 value, in here and so here it's very easy to see. The middle plane and the bottom plane are 1 value, and then that means the other 2 values, right? So this is dark, light, medium, are in the sky plane. That's if you want to emphasize the sky. In here, the sky plane and the front plane and the plane nearest to us, right? The near plane are dark. And the medium is, and the middle plane is a combination of light and medium. Down here, the sky plane and the medium plane are dark, and the front plane has more detail, meaning it's got two values. Do you see how that's working? So you use value differentiation to create detail, to create emphasis and detail. And the more and depending on where you put your emphasis and detail, that's where you're going to see more values kind of next to each other. Does that make sense? That's what I think this is brilliant. And he's like, it could be any, right? If you've got 3 values, these are 9 ways to organize that same scene. Dark. And if you go down the sheet like this, you'll see everything. The 1 value is always dark for the 2. And here, the 1 value is medium for all 3 areas. And here, the 1 value for the 2 is light. So it really shows you he's not saying even like you have to do dark here or light here or whatever. He's just saying wherever you put value differentiation, 2 values next to each other, that's where you'll see your differentiations. So when you get a chance, take a pencil. I'm just using this notepad. I'm giving myself a little bit of space outside. I'll take a look in just a second. I'm not even getting too fussy. You can use a ruler or a straight edge if you want to give yourself these. Yeah, so notice I have a little bit of room. Wonky as heck today. Here, that's a little too wonky even for me. JC, I'm going to take a look at this. So go ahead and create this with your pencil. And then I'm sorry, everything looks a little bit slanted. I can't quite get let's try again. Yeah, my phone doesn't really want to totally go straight. So if I can just do that. There we go. Okay, the illusion of straight. Once you do that, I want you to put your pencil away. You're not gonna do it anymore. And I am. It would be helpful if you could have I don't really have room here. I'm trying to see where to put this. Well, let's see, a little bit. Actually, I kind of do. I can look at my little section, my sketch here from the first time I did this exercise this year. However, if you want to, you could on your phone call up the original that I sent, and you might want to look at that while you're doing this exercise, each one. However, I'm going to do each of these squares with you, so don't worry about that. And let me take a look.
It's so nice to see you back, Annika.
It is. Nice, JC. Nice. So wet on wet. So just notice if you want to make your watercolor drier or lighter, which we often do in watercolor, right? So that we don't go too crazy. You'll want to come back here. You'll want to lighten it with more water. You can kind of take it in your tab and lighten it with more water. If you're working straight from pats where you don't have this, come here and test it on another piece of paper. I'm just working here on the cardboard that I have so I won't get stuff in this hotel room. Dirty, right? So if I want to, I can test this here and then dip my brush in water again to make it lighter. The first lesson in beginning watercolor painting, I highly recommend, because we talk about warm and cool colors. We talk about how to mix, and all we do is practice making colors lighter and then gradually darker. So that is an important one. We are not going to repeat that here in this class. So that's an important one. I believe it's the first lesson. So that is a good one to practice your, how you apply paint. Because it's tricky. So the first one is the front values, the middle value, and the front value are going to be dark, and the are going to be dark. And so that's going to look a little like this. And I'd say just use any blue you want. I'm feeling this turquoise right now. I'm testing it on this piece of paper first because we're starting with dark, and then I'm just kind of, do you see how I'm tracing the outline? My thing is more square than rectangular, so I don't have quite as much room. So I'm not fussing about that. But I can trace the outline. Yeah. Now, here's the thing about watercolor. It often goes lighter, dries lighter. And once you get something dark, you can't make it lighter. So we tend to apply watercolor, let it dry, and then go over with a second layer to darken it to the level that we want. So I'm doing this is my hill, here is my tree, and then I have a medium clouds. So before I get in here, I have paint on my brush. I'm going to dip it in water, and then I'm going to try and lay in. And the trick here is you want to be careful kind of not to touch. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Not to touch your dark because it'll bleed into your light. So I'm going right next to it. I may have to darken my dark, and I may have to darken my medium. And while we're here, I'll pop up. Do you want to? No, it's not letting me do that. Okay, let's see. I can pop this up so you can see it. I don't know if it's more useful for you to see my painting, or is it more useful for you to see my painting or the source that we're working from? You guys tell me. I can pop the source up in the share while you're working. Maybe it's more helpful to see my painting. I kind of went over with the
I think
slide.
yeah.
Okay. So remember, we need to keep some areas completely unpainted. That's the challenge. No light. And that's why we're working wet on dry, because it is much harder to control light areas, keeping some areas light, particularly in a space this small. This has dried, so I might go back in and make it darker, because I want this to really read. And I want to be careful. While these are contiguous, they're next to each other. Yeah, I think that helps. Now I want to add a little bit more. I still want these clouds to read as medium. I want them lighter than this. When you think you've got it, send it over. And please don't rush. In fact, don't kill me. I'm going to run down and get one more cup of coffee. Like I will be 2 minutes. I will be back and I'll take a look at what you guys have done. If any of you feel like going further, you're welcome to try it, but you're also welcome to really slow it and practice it. So I'll be right back. All right.
What fast?
I'm back. All right. How is everybody doing? Have you sent me stuff? Can I look?
I'm screwing up mine.
You know what, Diana? It's a little bit like Jean's camellia, the struggle that you're having. This is the trouble with certain kinds of flowers. Roses are more structured, and you can have these kind of separate light and darks that are a little bit more cubist.
Mm.
Nice. Good job, Annika. So notice, and MC. All right. And JC, just send it whenever you want to. So notice that when you, these are great, you guys. Actually, they're pretty. I like them. I'm going to keep mine simple for this next one. In this next one, the the sky is going to be the first plane, words, Leah, words. Okay, the middle plane and the front plane are going to be medium. So the challenge here is to go very, very, and JC, just send them in when you feel like it. All of you, that's true. I have had students say things to me like, I don't want to be corrected on my paintings. And I think that's valid. And I'm like, well, just don't send them to me then. Because our deal is if you don't send it to me, then I can't, if you send it to me, I will feel compelled to correct it. But if you don't send it or send it later, whenever you're ready, that's better. Okay, so now I want a very light. And so I'm testing actually. You see how I'm testing here? And this is going to be a kind of medium. Because these are contiguous, they're connected together, the middle and the front plane. It's really easy to do the whole middle and front plane first. I might go a little darker. I'm going to go a little darker. And I can use this to compare. I don't want to go as dark as that. Value is always comparative, right? It's always like what's next to it. So the other nice thing about this setup, and I'm picking up a little bit more paint and going over again, but notice how lightly I'm picking up very little paint. And I might even still make it darker, but I want to make sure it's not darker than this or as dark as this. So that's the challenge. And then you're going to want to get very dark. Notice how much paint I have here and notice how much testing I'm doing. Kind of. And I'm trying to leave little spaces in between. I want that not to happen. Okay. Look at how different. I'm using the corner of my brush. I'm using kind of a thick brush. It's like a quarter inch, maybe a half inch, which would be like 6 millimeters or something. But you can also use the corner of this to get kind of, I like a brush where I can do a bit of everything. I like a bigger brush so I can get bigger areas, but then I turn it on its edge to get smaller areas, get sort of more. All right, let's see. Beautiful, JC. Beautiful. Great. Good job, everybody. That's a tricky one because you have to preserve the lights. And I know we're kind of changing the shape of these because I'm working with a slightly smaller paper and I made these more. It doesn't really, I'm not really fussy about the exact proportions of this to this. It's more about how you apply light, medium, and dark together. Great job. Diana, the other thing I'm thinking is that maybe you need a little bit more suggestion of something in the background. I don't want to say heavy because I know this is a small one, right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't
But a
want.
little bit, just tiny, you have just a sort of brief brushes to suggest
Yeah.
that this isn't just isolated on its own. Or if it is, make your sky, if it's sky that we're looking at and nothing else, make it clearly sky. If it's not just sort of a soft background. In reality, you have a composition challenge because you put 2 flowers in, even though one's not full, you've put the focus is on 1 flower, but really the rule of subjects, as you know, is odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7. Somehow.
That's why I have the little buds in between.
Yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough. They're not the same. They're not considered the same subject. It's so different in mark making. It's not like those don't count as flowers, they're buds. So that's probably also why that composition is struggling a little bit and needs a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll see where I take it. Will
How is your leg feeling?
much better. But I mean, I still walk like a duck, and it's painful, but I'm walking without crutches.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I'll be fine. I'll be
I
fine.
know,
It's
I'm
not.
sure.
It's not gonna stop me.
No, nothing stops you. Nothing stops you. That I know.
I don't know about that, but this is
Um,
not gonna stop me.
I really love this second doing this again because I couldn't talk about all these things. That's good, MC. Nice. You have a little bit of crossover in here into your notice there's a tiny bit of crossover into your middle plane and your lower plane. You want to be careful not to do that because really this is a hill that's blocking everything in the sky, but otherwise I like this. Nice. Good job. I like it that these aren't the same. Okay, yes. So Annika, you want to wait till this dries and you're going to need to go back in and darken to a medium your second. But I like your dark marks. And notice how you're getting little bits of bleed. Here, I'm going to pop this up. Do you mind? I want to be able to point this out. Notice we get these. Oh, dang it. Okay. There we are. Perfect. Oh, beautiful, JC. Great. Great. That looks great. Annika, I just wanted to show you one thing here. It's a brush control thing, which you'll be, playing with. Notice here that like this is happening either because you didn't really, these guys are bleeding in, right? This is still wet. So when you're applying, if you want to control how much color goes in, you can fix this by making this everything more this value, but wait until these guys dry before you do that. Because otherwise, if they're still wet, see how the stuff just bleeds out. I mean, these are some of the things, and I'm not saying it doesn't look cool, but if it's not what you want, or it makes it too dark, that's going to be problematic. I can see all of you are already experimenting with how you can make this kind of your own, what kind of marks you like, right? That's part of the idea here. The last one for the sky plane, as you can see here, is these two front planes have nothing on them. So actually what we're going to do is work above. We're going to draw our line, but work from above. See how I'm sketching up? And maybe down a little bit more. And you have a couple ways you can do this. You can start by making everything kind of a medium value on the top. And then you can add kind of darks in while it's all still wet. But that might be hard to control. I don't know. I'm pushing around a lot. I find myself, it's funny with watercolor paint in particular, I find myself pushing this way with my brush as well as I am pulling. So that you kind of have a soft edge there. It might be better to make that whole thing. So I guess I lied a little bit. We're doing this. It might be better to make this kind of wet with a medium and then go back in with the dark. I do like the fun things that are happening here a kind of soft blossoming up here, slightly darker under here. So here, the 3 and 1 value is 1, 2, 3. Here it's 2, 1, 3, and here it's 3, 1, 2. And those numbers, let's see, 1 is the lightest, 3 is the darkest, 2 is the middle. And that's what those little combinations are. And if you mess it up, go ahead and get yourself another sheet of paper, draw yourself just a little square on it, and try it again. Like, don't feel like you have to get this right on the first try, or conversely, you can practice on a piece of paper on another watercolor sheet, and when you get it right, then try it here. Either way will work. I don't want you to feel like you can mess this up. The key is not to get these all together necessarily, but to get them in the same. So if our emphasis is the sky, these are the kinds of ideas we play with. And I hope this is kind of the focus of this. There might be a little stress in trying to get the brush to do what you want, the paint to behave, but hopefully the stress is the kind of stress that kind of causes you to focus and forget a little bit about the outside world. There's good stress and there's not good stress. We want this to be kind of a good stress. Is the weather good where you guys are? It's really beautiful here. Kind of weird.
It's beautiful here.
Is it?
Mhm.
It's beautiful in Oregon too. And normally it's not this time of year. Well, I'm not going to say it's not beautiful when it rains, but it's not normally sunny beautiful. Annika, MC, JC. JC and MC, you're not too far from each other. MC's in London. JC is in Oxford. So what's it like over there?
Well, today we had a really nice day. Yesterday it was very foggy because we're so close to the ocean, and the
I
water
can
in the
imagine.
ocean is cold. So even though we're having like 60 degrees Fahrenheit, I mean it's pretty nice, but it's been gray. But today it just suddenly opened up and it was beautiful.
I know it's magic. Seems to be magic.
Yeah. The thing is, it's funny that now, this is the countryside, and usually there's not a lot of people here. And now suddenly all those darn city people are showing up. And like a year ago,
Dang city people.
I was one of them. But now I'm like the farmer, and I'm like, oh God, all these Stockholm people are coming
Get
here.
out of here. That's pretty good, MC. Your edges are slightly hard. So, oh, nice, JC. Okay, so yep, I see you got impatient. So remember, JC, there is absolutely no paint here. Like they got impatient. But I see what you're doing on the top layers. There's absolutely no paint on this one. It's all in the sky. You're welcome to do another star and try it, another, what do you call it, and another square and try it again if you want to. And MC, what I'll tell you is that your edges are slightly hard. So you may want to go in with a damp but not soaking wet brush. See how mine are kind of blending in? This is definitely dark and this is definitely medium, but it's a little softer. And I do that by kind of tapping the edges and pushing them so that the paint kind of blossoms into the next layer. That's okay. This is super hard. I mean, it's practice. It's a lot of practice. More than you think. Pushing around. All right. Let's look at the next line. This is where the emphasis is on the middle value, which means that the sky and the foreground are going to be the same value. So once again, we're going to draw that with paint. I'm going to get this a little bit lighter. And you're going to see, I'm going to sketch in this. And then I'm going to sketch in down here, this. So these two top areas are going to be the darkest. And if you're struggling, mine may be a little bit difficult to see the details. So please feel free to pull up the original source. Oh, and here I see I made a tiny mistake. I can see that this is flat and I should have made it a little bit more kind of, yes. A little bit more like slanted up because it's a hill. So I'm going to be, I just took my blankie and I pulled off some of the extra paint. And now this looks like medium and this looks dark. Anyway, that's a way sometimes. And I went over on 2 layers. So we add in our 1 values in our, the 1 value here is dark, it's 3. So we're doing our dark here and dark down here. And then we're going to do a little work in the medium section. Diana, you gotten anywhere yet with that little guy?
I'm getting somewhere. I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm redoing some things. I'm adding in a couple of leaves.
That's better. That will help.
I'm not sure it's better, but it's different.
It's tricky. Sometimes what you realize after you work on something for a while is it doesn't work because the subject isn't right? Or it's not enough. I have been redoing a cityscape which had, and I told this to myself when I did this, it had a car and a person as subjects, dual subjects. And I remember talking to my current studio mate, Pippa Aaron, about this and said, hey, yeah, the problem with this, the challenge with this is there's 2 like subjects. And I've never been able to get this painting right. And she was like, well, get rid of the car. I'm like, no, it's there. It's got to be there, blah, blah, blah. And then I got rid of the car and the painting is solved. Painting is a much better painting because I just got, really even though I knew the rule and I told myself I was giving myself an exception, it didn't really work. Never did. It's a much better painting without the car. The two subjects. So we get attached to ideas about ways things look. Sometimes a photo looks better. You know, a good photo is as good as a painting in a way. So sometimes a photo looks too good, and but really it's not the same for the painting, which is a whole different
I
thing.
took a picture crooked, but I don't care. I'm
Okay,
gonna say-
send it over. Oh, much better. Much better. Much better. And I like that you got it. I was going to suggest gradation. That helps a lot. Yep. Yep. Now, the only thing I would do, Diana, because the yellows point directly to those little dots in the middle,
Yeah.
the little buds, is I would add just a titch more detail to the buds. Not too much because you don't want them to compete. I think this is a great solution. To me, this is almost done. It's just I go to those little dots, and because here, I'm going to point rather than try and tell
I
you.
get what you're saying.
Yeah, but let me point so everybody else can learn from this too. It's a complicated, thanks for your patience on that. It's a complicated thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about, she did a great job here. So worked on the background a little bit, made a gradation from dark to light, kind of going diagonally up. This is a very standard Diana thing. It always works. A little bit of leaf in the background. So now to me, the only thing that really bumps is you've got this yellow thing pointing right to these guys. And then they either should be softer and blurrier, so we see less detail, or there should be a little bit more detail in here. Do you see that? Because otherwise they just kind of float. Other than that, I think I think you're done. You don't have to glaze if you don't want to.
Yeah, I want to work a little bit more on the flower, on those leaves in the background that are more purplish because they fade back, or bluish.
Yeah. So a glaze is the perfect way to deal with that, because then you get everything a little bit bluish with a little blue like a cobalt blue glaze.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. All right, and I haven't finished this. Glaze is unified, Diana. That's one of the things to use them, right? You can shade an entire area the same color, and then all of a sudden everything looks the same. Before I look at that, JC, I want to finish this for you. You guys will see that this medium area has both lights and mediums. So your challenge, and notice how light I'm going with my medium. I have to actually preserve some lights. I can't cover this the whole middle area has to have two values, both light and medium. So I'm going very light on my medium. That's kind of the second layer. Let me take a look. Not bad, JC. Good. I would darken when it dries. I would darken. Here, I'm going to pop up so you can see it. I would darken when this dries. I would darken this a little bit more. Do you see how they're kind of disappearing at that edge? This should be a little bit darker, but you want to wait until this is dry before you try it. This dark is really good next to that medium. Nice work. Good job, Annika. Very nice. Very nice. It's fun, isn't it? It's kind of nerve-wracking, but also fun.
It's
MC,
really fun.
do you want to send it, or shall I just keep going and send it when you feel like it? Okay, this next one is usually where people find their feet. So in this case, the top area and the bottom, the sky plane and the bottom plane are going to be medium, which means we want to go really light. I'm going to sketch in here, kind of across, and then we're kind of highlighting. So I'm doing this, but I'm doing it lighter, right? We're highlighting that hill a little bit more. And here's the challenge. You're going to want to race in and just get in these darks because they're so fun, but you want to wait a minute. If I do it too soon, here, look, I'll do it. I'll bite the bullet for you. If any of my darks, this is still wet, my darks will bleed in. So I'm kind of leaving a little edge. Once again, I'm doing dark and light. So here's where it gets really fun. So see how I'm kind of just preserving it. And this is a similar composition to before. All right, so I've got a little bit of light there, and I'm going to take my darks and drag. You get to drag down, you get to a couple of tree trunks. This starts to actually look a little bit more like a landscape in this one. Let's see. All right. So MC, just always, I like seeing your top and your middle. Just remember your darks are looking very sharp. The edges are really sharp, and you kind of want them sharp, but you also want softness. I think for you, the biggest thing to work on is the softness. You got it here, right? Oh, sorry. I'm pointing as if you can see it here. Hold on. Let me do this. When to go soft in it. So this is not a bad hard here, but this looks a little strange to me, right? Like, what is that actually? Like, it's hard here and it's very perfectly round. These are both trees, right? So we want to create that. This soft is lovely. Nice and soft edge into this light, but your darks tend to be a bit hard, and I'd like to see a slightly softer edge for these landscapes. So that means just kind of furring it a little bit. I like it though. It's good. It's good. Sometimes you need them. I'm wondering if I should bring my, yeah, there we go. Even better. Bring this down a little bit. I hate the way this hotel room is oriented. I can't get my stand exactly right. I actually have a coffee maker sitting on top of my phone stand so it won't tip over. But I do like the light in here. It's fantastic. It's like way better than my studio.
Where are you, Leah?
I'm in a place called the Dalles, Oregon, which is in, there's a river called the Columbia, which splits Washington State and Oregon. And the river comes sort of right between on the border. It's a natural border and it leads to the ocean, the Pacific Ocean eventually. And so that area of Oregon is called the Gorge. It's fucking amazing. It's like so beautiful. So I'm in this weird, tiny little town about 2 hours from Portland where they have an art center, and I'm showing a bunch of illustrations I did for a little book on an endangered species, an endangered animal here, along with 4 other artists who did the same thing and worked with the same author. So we had a little show last night.
Yeah, how did it go?
You know, it was fine. I mean, you know, these days you have shows and nothing sells, and that's just the truth. So I have a lot of shows this year, and almost nothing sells, and that's just the way it is right now. So there were no sales, but not for me anyway. But it was delightful. I mean, it's always nice to have people came out to see it. It's a beautiful space. It's in this old historic building. Um, you know, it's beautiful. It was lovely. You know, it was fun as a vacation. Not exactly as a business. I mean, I'll write it off as a business trip, but it's not like that.
What's the animal?
It's a Columbia white-tailed deer.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, JC, this looks great. These look so great.
yeah, I darkened it up as you said.
I like it. Look at how strong that is. That's my favorite one now. It's the Columbia white-tailed deer. It's a funny story because it's a sad story. Because they used to be everywhere here. They have a very particular kind of habitat with white pine, and there's no white pine left. It's all been developed. And so they've been kind of, they were almost gone. And then they're found a few species in a couple of wildlife reserve areas. And so they are tagged. They have little monitors on them so that hunters won't kill them. But you know, they don't have where they roamed, that doesn't really exist anymore. So they have these littler kind of curved in areas. There's some success because, you know, they're mating and having babies and no one's shooting them. But it's not what, you know, this area has changed so much environmentally. So it's a kind of a beautiful story. So anyway, I have like 12 or 15 illustrations I did for this book. Mama and baby deer, a lot of them have little ear tags on and little monitors on. Like, and you know, they're trying to find like good spaces. We actually, in the process of doing this book, I got to go out with the author and find them. So we photographed, so that's what I worked with, is sources that we found on our 2 trips to go look for Columbia white-tailed deer. Yeah, it's amazing. She does one with gray squirrels, another one with this, another book is focused on the relationship between coyotes and badgers. And they're little kids' books, kind of. It's so cute. And one is on owls, a barn owl. The other is little fox. And one is the red-headed woodpecker. Yeah, so there, I mean, it's there, you know, that the show is full of like 150 beautiful little drawings and sketches of animals and different, it's really great. It's a great, it was a great project. Thank you for asking. It was a pretty great project.
It sounds amazing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't really expect it. So it's nice for us all to be together and, you know, showing it in an area where these animals all either are or used to be.
I learnt about a new animal I didn't know existed yesterday, and it was very exciting.
What was that?
Javelina.
Yes. Isn't it like a mink or something?
Yes, it's this weird sort of giant hedgehog almost looking type character.
Yeah. Where are they? Are they in England?
Sedona, Arizona. They wander
They're
around.
yes, you're absolutely right. Avelina. We have a version in Oregon called, oh crap, what's the name of it? It's another one from the same family, and they're giant. They're not called mink or ferrets. They are, the name is escaping me, but it's a funny name as well. Does anybody want me to go on to the last one on this side? I can do that while we're chit-chatting. All right. So in the last one on this side, the challenge is you want nothing here and down. There's a little bit coming down here, but you want to mostly preserve the white here and the white down here. So we're going to sketch down. And here. And the dark. Right, so nothing in the sky. The trees are all dark. There's a tiny bit of dark that drifts into the foreground, but not very much. The light is kind of on the bottom of the middle section. More in here, here, and here. Right, so there's no light in the trees. It's all kind of underneath the trees. A javelina. How did you come across a javelina?
I have a friend in Sedona.
All right, now I'm going to show you guys a javelina. We're going to look at it right now. Here. Yeah, it's a little bit like a pig.
That's probably why I like it then.
It's really cute. Here, wait, actually, a javelina would be a wild pig. Here. Javelina would be a fabulous thing to paint. I'm thinking that the next thing we'll do in this class when we reconvene, that's a javelina. Cute.
But it's, yeah, the snout is pig-like. It's
Oh.
also a bit hedgehog-like, the front.
It's a combo. Oops, sorry, I lost it. What happened here? Okay, here we are. Yeah, it's pig-like. It's a little bit ferrety.
But I guess hedgehog, so
Hedgehoggy.
yeah,
We don't have a lot of hedgehogs here. I know they're all over the place in London. We don't really get them in the US, at least not the part of the US I'm from. Maybe LA, you have hedgehogs, Diana? I don't know. Diana, do you guys have, oh, you might remember, Annika, do you guys have hedgehogs in LA?
I mean, we have boars, wild pigs,
Hedgehogs are totally different. They're those little
Yeah,
spiky
I don't know
things.
exactly what hedgehog. I saw the picture, but I don't think we have them or have them.
Oh,
in-
hedgehogs are, I mean, they're MC and JC should see them everywhere. I'm assuming they're all over London and Oxford, right?
Yes,
Guys, you see
we've got
hedgehogs?
some neighborhood ones, but a lot get squashed by cars.
Oh, babies, they're so
I never
cute.
see them in London. It's only the
Really?
countryside. Yeah.
I have friends who
Oh,
live in
oh, oh,
Scotland.
oh,
The
yeah, now I
hedgehogs
know
are,
what they are. We have them here. We do.
yeah, I think they
In
have them
Sweden.
everywhere, but I don't really, yeah, but they do look like a sort of you're right, JC. It looks like a giant hedgehog. My boyfriend's ex-girlfriend who loved animals had 2 hedgehogs, and Rob's job was to take care of them.
Awesome.
This is the hedgehog.
Yeah, those we have in Sweden a lot, but not in
Yeah, we
California.
don't really
Well,
have those. It's funny. We don't really have hedgehogs here. Unless they're pets. He said they roll around in their own shit a lot. And they don't like to be, and they're super spiky, so you can only pet them a certain way. Like go like the other way, it's like touching a porcupine. He said they're strange little beasties. And when you think you've got this next row, send it over to me. And then we'll do the last row. I may have to end a couple minutes early because we're technically checking out at 11 a.m., which is when this class ends, but I think we're going to get there. Next week, we will start with a big landscape, a bigger one that will take up a whole sheet of paper. We actually ended this last class with a simple landscape. We're gonna move to kind of more complex ones. So that's what we're gonna do for the next 6 weeks. And then we'll take a 6-week break and maybe we'll do animals for 6 weeks, which would be fun. So off and on, this will be happening all year at this time, is the
Are you
idea.
in Santa Fe right now?
No, I'm in a place called the Dalles, Oregon.
Oh,
Yeah, it's in the gorge. It's about 2 hours east of Portland. It's a very beautiful, it's a small town where they have an art center where they're showing a bunch of my animal illustrations. So,
Oh. Congratulations. Are you
oh
selling any?
yeah.
Are you
What?
selling, are you selling any?
Of course not. Nobody sells this stuff. And no, this is not the year for that kind of thing. It's a very tiny town. There's not that many people here. But the show looks great. But this is not the year to sell. I mean, I'm selling, but most of my shows will not be big sellers. That people here, people were mad at me because my paintings were too expensive. And oh, Autica, very. Well, I like this. You want to be, let's see. Yeah, I like it. Get this a little bit more medium. Actually, don't change that at all. Just leave it. I know it's white on the top instead of
Yeah.
medium. You can make it medium. Just for the
Mhm.
practice, make it medium on the top. But
Okay.
that's fantastic. Very expressive. Yes. See, what happens is you start to kind of find your plate, you start to figure out what the watercolor, how you want them to look. I like it. Nice. These are looking great. Nice, Ems. These are great, you guys. Great.
Okay, I changed.
Beautiful. Yeah, fantastic. I love them. Yeah, and then sometimes you kind of accidentally show up with something like that, Annika. That's so great. You don't really want to change it for
But you do.
practice. But you do because you want to practice it, right? Like, but it's beautiful in its own way. Yeah, there we well, notice, okay, so this is what I want to show you. If these so is this the medium? Is this the middle one?
No, it's the one on the right.
It's the one on the right. There should be
Yeah.
no okay, so this is the only, well, okay. So here's where you're technically, I want to say technically because I like this piece, but I want to show you. Sorry, I thought you were doing the medium. The reality is this. Here, hold on. There shouldn't be anything here. Generally, right? This should be white and white. There shouldn't be technically anything here, but I don't care because I like it. So leave it. Don't do anything else to it. But do you see technically from a technical standpoint, this one is supposed to be, the sky is supposed to be white.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom here is supposed to be white.
Hmm.
Unless you're
There's
doing
a little bit of a shade on the right side, not as dark as the one I did, but there is.
There is a tiny bit, if you want
Yeah.
to look at it technically, I'll show you technically. MC has it here a little bit more. Technically, we shouldn't, here, I'm going to show this to you guys. These are all, this is, if you're working on this one, white
Yeah.
and white. White, white.
Oh, I see down there. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
White.
Now I get it. Yeah.
And white. Yeah. And then this is dark and medium. Got it? Like that's the difference. Dark and medium here and light and medium. So dark and light here and medium is here. This is white. This is absolutely no color at all. But I'm not going to complain because it's a nice piece, but I want
And
you to be aware of it.
I didn't put any color there, and then you told me to put color there. So
I
this
know,
is
because
the
I
one with
thought
the
you were
middle
doing,
one.
I
Yeah,
thought
but
this
I
was
didn't
the
have color
medium.
there.
I
So-
thought this was the medium.
Yeah, but if you look
So-
at the first one, I didn't have color up there. So
Okay, so here's what I want to show you. What happened was you kind of transposed these two. Do you see that?
No,
What I
don't.
looked at is I saw white. So this whole thing is one dark.
Yeah,
And,
that's why I
but
didn't
I'm
have
not
the white on it,
arguing.
which you
I
can
don't,
see on the first picture I sent, and then you asked me to put the sky in, so I did.
right. That isn't the issue for me. The issue is I saw medium up here and I thought you were working the middle.
Hmm.
But I'm not going to argue with you because I don't want, it's a nice piece. It's a really nice piece, Annika. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying from a direction standpoint, this is one kind of solid color. But I
Yeah.
like the mark making. And then this had, this should have been white. And I thought this was medium because you had this
Yeah.
here. That's all.
Yeah.
I just got confused about what I was looking at, but it's beautiful. Like,
I got
don't worry
confused.
about it.
And now we're
It's
not
more-
confused.
Yeah, it's more about kind of just like here, hold on. We're just kind of doing our best to follow the directions, but sometimes we have happy accidents and that's the best thing that could ever happen. So this is the tricky one, maybe the trickiest one down here, speaking of. So this is dark. These first two layers are dark, but the sky and the middle ground, but there is a little light space in between.
Mm.
Can you see that? So the challenge here, I'm going to go lighter. I'm going to go lightish here. And I'm going to recreate that. Here. So this is dark. And this is dark. But he doesn't run them together. He gives them a little space. Even though both of these are the dark together. So I'm doing this a little bit lighter so I can make things darker. And then the two values are in the foreground, which is light and medium, right? So nothing here. So I'm going to do this one fairly light, and then I'm going to go back and darken. Oh, excuse me. And if you're struggling to look at this, actually look at the source. You can go back to the source. These pieces aren't exactly what the source is, and I don't have I could pop up the source, but I don't have the source printed out, so I can't show it to you. Maybe I could show it to you in the book. Maybe that's better. But I don't know if I can get the book to stand up. Let's see. I could try this. Yeah, it's difficult, but I just do not have the setup for this. Ouch. Here. Come on. Yeah, it's not as easy for me to, I suppose, unless I do this. Don't be horrified. There we go. Okay, so that's what you should be looking at. I'll just put it back in the book when I'm done with it. This is not finished yet. I'm going to let this dry. Over here,
Leah, I'll be back in a second. I'm parched. I just need to get something. I'll be back shortly.
you got it, no problem. In this one, the sky and the tree are medium. So in here, the sky and the tree are dark. Here, the sky and the tree are medium. And then dark and light is here because we're putting the two values in the foreground. I'm actually wondering, this is actually light enough that I might see how much darker this is as I put this on once it's dry. I can do this. Right, I can darken this, and I also need to darken my sky, so I can leave a little in between light layer. See how I'm doing that? Once this is dry, I can come over and darken this and leave my light layer. So that's probably the best strategy for that one. But this definitely, that first layer needs to be dry before I can pull that off. And here's really what you're trying to do.
Can't believe I'm spending so much time on this little shit painting.
You gave yourself a difficult assignment.
Ah,
You can always decide that it just isn't the right subject.
well, but you know, that's what you learn from, so.
Exactly. But my point is, you can change it, like really at the end of the day, if you're fighting, you're fighting a basic rule and you know it. You even know it as you're fighting it, right? And I'm not talking about you, Diana, I'm talking about the royal us. We all do that.
I don't know if I sent it, I'm strange.
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. Did I?
I'm trying to see the difference. Can you blur out the buds a little bit more, make them softer?
The what?
The buds should be a little bit softer, make them a little bit blurrier.
The
The
buds.
buds,
I made them blurrier.
I think you need to make them a little blurrier,
I did do that.
a little bit more.
All right. Yeah, I guess I could.
Yeah. Um, this is really what we're going for. I'm doing a simplified version, but remember, this is what we're going for. The second one is kind of the sky and the tree are medium. So once again, I'm going to sketch in this right outside. We're going to do this here. And we're going to lightly medium them up. This is all medium. There's not that much variation. There's a little bit of variation that comes in, but not till the end. And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm not trying to create that little white line until my second layer when it dries. And then I'm going to do the darks, but only at the bottom, not in here, because it'll be too wet. I can bring it, see, even that, kind of trying to attach them. So I'm really working the bottom. But I can't finish this until it dries and I can go over with another layer. So this is all I'm doing with this bottom. Because this is really one value with a little light line between it and then a touch of dark coming up. But I can't get that dark in until this dries. So then the last one is light. Although in this case, the light seems to be a kind of very light wash. So you can do that if you want to. See, I'm going to have to make this darker. Yeah, that's all I can do actually. Now I think I can go in up here and darken, do these dark areas because now it's dry. See how I'm able to get like a little bit darker here? Now that this area is dry and it's not bleeding out so much. I can get in here, darken there, and then I can make my medium just slightly darker. And leave a little light spot, light line in between. The last one goes a little bit out of bounds. Just do your best. This is kind of medium in here, medium and dark. Once again, I'm going to wait until this dries. And then I'll get my last dark layer in. Awesome. Nice work, MC. Good. Good, 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 good. Easier the second time around, isn't it? And maybe when you're on vacation in Ireland.
Yeah,
Where in
so it's
Ireland
easier
are
the
you?
second time. I'm in
What?
Dublin.
Oh, Dublin. Nice. What a great town. How long are you there?
Actually, I fly back tomorrow. Oh,
Oh,
Sunday.
fabulous.
So yeah, I've been here about a week.
What have you been doing? Just eating and drinking and
Just
seeing the
visiting
sights?
family. So lots of family stuff.
Oh, oh, you're from Ireland originally? That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
How is Ireland?
It's rainy. It's rained all day today. But actually, before today it was sunny. It was beautiful. But today it just literally rained all day.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy I'm happy you guys have figured out how to travel with this. It's really great. I'm going to go in now and add my darks. See, there's a couple of darks, key darks here. And then these kind of cool shadows. So we start to learn how to manipulate to layer color. This one's still not dry yet, so I'm waiting. This, so you guys can really see it. There we go. All right, I'll be right back. I shall return shortly. All right, where are we at?
Checking on.
Good, right? Exactly. It's all practice, right? Let's see. Ooh, Ooh, I like your middle, Annika, on the bottom. Very nice. Yes, I can feel you starting to get your flow. Beautiful. Everybody always has one of these that they like better than all the others, or maybe two. So just sometimes, like as we're practicing this, because it's actually kind of hard in a weird way, right? Because you're trying to get your brush to do what it needs to do. Annika, that might be my favorite one that you've done so far. I like it
Yeah,
a
that
lot.
was, I don't know why.
Well, sometimes you just get it, like sometimes
Yeah.
you're just, as you start to learn how to get your brush to do what you want to do, right? And there's two things, like as I said, the one that you sent before is actually beautiful, but it didn't follow the 2-1
No.
rule, but it was beautiful. So I'm not going to argue with it. But if you're trying
Oh,
to,
but you're
when
right.
you're trying to recreate what you're seeing, this kind of idea of the 2-1 rule, it's a fascinating one. Like, and that's why this guy's work is so incredible. Here, hold
Yeah.
on. I mean, he's just incredible. He really can do a lot. Ooh, nice, nice MC. Nice, JC. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and give yourself, you don't have to do everything at once. You can do the layer in the mediums and then go back in when it dries and do the darks. Doing great. This is great. Great job, you guys. Yeah, just to show you a little bit of his work. It's one of my favorites.
In my lap.
Look at that. Look at how he uses white to convey light and dark here.
Yeah.
Look at the lighthouse, how he does the lighthouse. We've actually done the lighthouse before. I might try it again. This is where he talks about adjusting values for different conditions. Here's the same, right? Here's where everything's kind of in medium tones. This has got kind of lights and darks. And then this is where light, like white, really helps shape the darks. Yeah. Yeah, he's a beautiful painter. First watercolor painter that made me really want to paint in watercolor. Look at this. It's crazy. This is middle and dark against light values. See that? So everything here is kind of middle dark, and then there's light up here and a little bit of light down here. Exactly the section that you're working right now. It's a very strong understanding of all those things. So we'll go for another 10 minutes. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna, like I said, I have to check out. So we're gonna end a teeny bit early.
Coffee.
I'll make up for it in next week's class. We'll go 10 minutes longer. Anybody have any fun weekend plans?
We're going to see Matthew Bourne Swan Lake tomorrow.
Where?
In somewhere in the UK that's not considered particularly glamorous at all, but Milton Keynes.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Because it's easy to get to from Oxford. It's cheaper seeing it in Milton Keynes than London.
That was a completely constructed place, wasn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
remember.
Annika, beautiful. Love the last two. I feel you got it. I feel in this one you got it. You got it. You got the rhythm. You got the brush to do what you wanted to do. Great. Yep. Watercolor has been waiting for you. Nice work. Beautiful. You could do this exercise again. You could
Yeah.
pick one of these and try and do them big. Try and do one on a whole page. Might be kind of fun. You have everything here. So, as we're waiting to go to the next, when we wait to go, if you want to practice, play around with these exercises. Get the ones that you're like, I didn't get it that time. I'll try it again. Try them in a different color. Reds, maybe. Yellows.
Yeah.
Blue is nice. It's a dark, rich pigment. It always delivers darks and lights and mediums. Very nice. Well, that sounds nice. What else? What else have you guys got going for the weekend?
Work, work,
Work,
work.
work, work. So much work.
I'm going to sing again on Sunday.
Wonderful. What is your voice range?
I'm alt. I don't know what you call that in
Alto,
English.
an alto.
Alto,
Yeah.
yeah. They have a sort of a shortage of male voices, so they almost made me a tenor because my voice is kind of dark.
Yeah.
But then another.
But you have
teacher
higher
came.
range, I bet, so you can be alto.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
alto's
Fun.
nice, but it's very repetitive. It's kind of, yeah. I'm learning a lot. It's amazing. I'm learning so much about music that even though I've done a lot of music my whole life, I never knew about, all these different. In a choir that you only sing one part sort of a chord, and then the others sing the other part, and then it combines into a unity. It's when
amazing.
when it works. The first time I sang in a church and it worked, I was very close to starting crying because it was just so. When the final tone went out, and we were all in harmony, I was like, God, I did that.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Right, because you can't do it by yourself.
No.
But every part, the layers have to be
Yeah, it's
layered.
like painting. It is.
It's like painting. It is.
Yeah, it is. It really
you
is.
can't
Maybe
do
that's
it by
why I
yourself.
want to need to paint again.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's magical. Fantastic. I have always wanted to learn to play the drums. That's kind of because of the way drums layer into everything. There
Yeah.
are, of course, in Portland, like groups where you can gather and play the drums, and they're mesmerizing to listen to. If I ever run into one, I just stand there.
Yeah, drums are hard though. That's difficult.
I bet. Yes, my boyfriend played the drums in bands for many years. He told me he'll teach me, but I have to retire from another job first. So,
Yeah.
it's the whole
Now,
thing.
when you copious free time, you should do that.
Exactly. It's my job at the city is ending soon at the end of June. So I'm getting more free time, getting poorer, but more free time, as we all know.
And that's not
Ooh.
renewing.
What? I don't know yet. Ooh, OMC, beautiful. Yeah. Gorgeous. I hope so, but the city has a big deficit, a 92 million US dollar deficit they've got to make up. And so I don't think anybody's hiring, but I did do a good job for them. So we'll see. We shall see.
Yeah, but that's the truth. I mean, how this country could be put on almost depression in 2 months.
It's amazing how much damage one person can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to turn off here. Hold on.